Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 63 of Cutscene Convos. We have
Yes.
got a jam-packed week with a character profile on Miguel O'Hara, discussions around Mandalorian episode number 7. We've got the Marvels trailer to discuss. We've got the Ahsoka trailer to discuss. We've got the Visions Volume 2 trailer to discuss, as well as everything that happened this week at Star Wars Celebration, as well as some interesting HBO Max and Discovery Plus news before wrapping things up with our superhero showdown. But before all that good stuff, Hori, how was your week?
My week's been good. For the most part, busy, I would say. But good. Was spent the weekend with a girlfriend. Also, it was Rocket League major at the weekend. Unfortunately, a rough showing for the KCP lads. They didn't even make it out of group stage, so that was a tough 0-3 for them. But we move. I mean, they'll no doubt make the next major, so they can try it all again.
Exactly.
That was a bit of a shame, but we had them out for a boot camp and stuff in Kansas City, so that was content for that. Yeah, work wise, also working on a cool project for KCP that should be announced this weekend.
Nice.
Pretty fun thing we're going to be doing. And then yeah, my life's kind of been taken over by a game called Project Zomboid, which I feel like I've mentioned I've played before. Basically, it's a zombie sandbox game, and like any sandbox game, where there's base building and loot, and just like Minecraft and Rust and all them. Yeah, my sleep pattern's chalked. I mean, it already is generally, but it's more so chalked, and it's taken over my life. And yeah, just the usual degen things. You know how it be. um,
I do
but
indeed.
but yeah, that and work. Pretty busy week. But yeah, how's your week been?
My week's been crazy. Obviously, for us, 9 to 5, as last weekend was a 4-day
Oh
bank
yeah.
holiday weekend. So it was just crazy. I'm also re-addicted to Minecraft at the minute.
Mm.
So like many hours,
Yep.
many hours on a server with friends. I've also decided that I'm going to finally do a hardcore Minecraft series, which will be starting once I
Oh.
get back from Ireland this weekend. So probably even more hours are going to be thrown into Minecraft soon. Um, but it's like been a 3-day week at work for me because obviously Monday is a bank holiday,
Yep.
and I'm off from tomorrow because I'm going over to Ireland for christening.
Mm.
So my mum is Irish. She has 5 siblings, 1 sister, 4 brothers.
Nice.
And the youngest brother, who moved to Australia, has had a baby. So before the COVID, we were getting ready for his wedding. He's now married and has a child who's nearly a year old, who's flown all the way to Ireland from Australia to be christened
Wow. That's
because my nan, his mother, can't travel. So if they held it anywhere else, she wouldn't be able to go because of health issues. So they kind of
understandable.
brought the christening to her.
Yeah. Nice.
So it'll be crazy. Haven't seen a lot of people there in a long, long time, so it's gonna be very nice to get over there and see everyone again. But as anyone who's got family in Ireland or
Mm-hmm.
surrounding countries will know, popping over for a weekend just leads to 72 hours of manic busyness.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back early-ish Monday. And then instead of being back in work on Tuesday, I'm driving to Kent for training on Tuesday. So that'll
Fun.
be a nice long day.
Fun day.
Yeah, but I mean it's good. We are living the dream, so to speak. But let's get into this. So
Yes,
last week we had Across the Spider-Verse trailer,
we did.
and I said, I'll tell you what, over the next couple of weeks, because in reality we're like 6-7 weeks away from Across the Spider-Verse now.
Yeah, it's not. It's gonna come quick.
Yeah, I thought we'd get in there with some characters we may be seeing.
Mm.
So I thought where better to start than Miguel O'Hara or Spider-Man 2099, who looks like he's going to be a bit of an antagonist in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, he does.
So his first appearance was in Amazing Spider-Man number 365 in June 92. As a bit of like a kind of reference thing that then led to him getting his own series.
Oh, okay.
So Miguel O'Hara is from Earth 928. I believe in current continuity he is displaced on Earth 616 after incursions and stuff, but his original Earth is Earth 928.
Okay.
He is an engineer of Irish and Mexican descent.
Interesting.
As an adult, he worked for Alchemax in Nueva York, which is 2099's equivalent of New York, I believe. So he worked for Alchemax, and he was a little bit put off by this company because they seemed to have a lot of power over the city, which he wasn't too fond of. But he was brilliant geneticist, so he worked there. But while he was there, he was put under pressure by his boss, Tyler Stone, who also, although Miguel didn't know this at the time, was his father, to test a process Miguel had created for genetic imprinting, which, if done right, could give people segments of DNA from animals, or even other humans, potentially. And his boss, Tyler Stone, put pressure on him to move this on to human testing. Miguel reluctantly agreed, and this led to the death of the subject. He got turned into a horrible creature and died. And this actually happening, as well as Miguel's insistence not to do it and then being forced to do it, left him naturally very upset.
Yeah.
And he walked into his boss's office and handed in his resignation. Stone then offered him a drink, to which Miguel politely accepted, not knowing that Stone had drugged the drink with a highly addictive hallucinogenic drug that also bound to the user's DNA so that they'd be guaranteed to be dependent on it.
What the?
And this drug was only manufactured by Alchemax.
Ah.
So by doing that, he was kind of forced to stay there, was Stone's master plan. So to try and rid himself of this addiction, Miguel tried to use the process on himself. Because when he was developing the process, he used his own genetics for a baseline.
Right.
So he kind of viewed it as like, oh, I can like reboot my DNA. And go back to my DNA before this drug was attached to it.
Backup save.
Yeah, exactly. Big brain. However, this was sabotaged by his co-worker, Aaron Delgato. And in an attempt to kill him, he put spider DNA in there.
Okay.
But it didn't kill Miguel. Instead, it successfully spliced the spider DNA into Miguel, giving him powers and ridding him of his addiction.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, when Delgato saw what physical mutations had taken place for Miguel, including talons that kind of come out of his arms and stuff, he started shooting at him, thinking that this savage beast was about to rip him to pieces. And he kind of tripped and fell out of a window. Miguel tried to save him and grabbed him, but then the talons like extended and stabbed into Aaron a bit, which caused him to fall and die. No, not fall and get badly hurt. And then after kind of this initial arc where it was him trying to hide who he was, he got helped out by the Church of Thor, and stuff like this. He realized that actually Alchemax didn't know that he was this new Spider-Man. So he kind of took his job back so that they didn't realize he'd been successful.
Okay.
He also had a so he's got his job back, and then he has a bit of an incident where gets kidnapped by Vulture 2099,
Okay.
who happens to be a cannibal.
Oh.
Yes. And it's at this time that Miguel realizes that Nueva York needs him both as Spider-Man to help deal with people like the Vulture, but also as Miguel O'Hara to be this kind of double agent inside Alchemax to kind of control them and stop them ruining the city.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of motivations of Spider-Man 2099. He's a lot darker than Peter Parker. He's a lot angrier. He's a fair bit more brutal, but he kind of just matches the time. He's kind of like a
Yeah.
cyberpunk take on Spider-Man. He's in this ultra futuristic city where big
Corporation-esque,
corporations
yeah.
have taken over everything, so you just have to be a bit more brutal to survive. And he's not as quippy.
Interesting.
So he will be a formidable antagonist for Miles, I'm sure. And it'd be really cool to see Oscar Isaac get a proper run at him for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Anyway, Mandalorian,
Yeah,
season 3, episode 7.
the
Yes.
penultimate
Yes. Yes.
episode. Yes, no. Yes, no, no, yes.
This, I was bouncing off the walls. We're gonna have to start at the beginning here. I know we try not to do shot for shot, but there is a lot.
I mean, we can bounce all over. There was a lot this episode.
So we started off with Moff Gideon getting phone call from New Republic woman.
Oh yeah, the insurgent.
And we were like, okay, but is she actually evil, or is she just really sus, but she's actually trying to be good? Or
yeah, this was the thing. It started with her like she's walking through downtown Coruscant, and it's like, okay, she's obviously going to meet someone. So then I was having the thing of, we're presuming she's bad, but what if she is actually good and she was like getting rid of the cloning guy because so
she knew
was
she
like,
couldn't be trusted. Yeah.
Okay, we're about to find out which side she lies on here. And then we see a old Imperial probe unit rocking up, and I'm like, evil. It's evil. She's bad. And then it's Moff Gideon. We get the return and the reveal. Of which she was like, got rid of the Doctor, dealt with that issue.
Yeah, you need to know the Mandalorians are back and mounting an offensive.
Yeah, Gideon was just trying to be like, I thought you said there was no one going to help sort out the pirates.
Navarro, yeah.
And she's like, well, there wasn't, but Mandalorians got involved, a certain special Mandalorian. To which I feel got Moff Gideon a little scared.
And also it was a massive bit of foreshadowing as to where he was hiding.
Yes, which
in hindsight we all should have spotted, but I don't think anyone did.
We should have done, but yeah, do you know what it is? Oh, but from when we first saw him, like his armor that he was wearing, I didn't pick up on it when he was walking around without a helmet on, like just the chest bit. But it's like, we should have kind of picked up on the fact it was potentially Mandalorian themed. Suit. But I'm trying to think what then came. We then skip to.
No, because then we've got his meeting with the other heads.
Oh, the Shadow Council.
Yeah, so there's a big bit as he's walking into that meeting.
Yes.
Where we go by little tubes that look like they're used for cloning.
It's the cloning.
Yeah.
Facility.
So I'm like, oh, that's big.
Yeah.
Then we get into the meeting, and they're having a discussion about you need to be more careful right now that they think we're just warlords. They can't know we're working together to rebuild the Empire. You're making a bit too much noise. Blah 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 blah. Then we find out fucking Hux. It wasn't Hux.
So it was
the First Order. It's like his dad or granddad.
Yeah. So it's Brendel Hux, who is the father of Gleason Hux, I think his name is, who was the one that kind of took over the First Order and all that shenanigans.
Yeah, but I mean, he was also a double agent, wasn't he? Which is also crazy.
Yeah, But also, fun fact, that's the actor's brother.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So that's why there's a very like even their facial shape and everything, they
Yeah.
look similar. So that's
Then you've got the other one who's talking about Thrawn and
yeah. You
how
got
he's like Thrawn's
Thrawn's
representative.
right hand man.
Yeah. And then they're just talking about Project Necromancer. Like, come on, we all know what that is.
Well, yeah, we've got. He mentions that Brendel Hux is dealing with Project Necromancer. Not that he seems that into doing clone stuff, but he seems to be in charge of it. We obviously, once again, Dave is trying to fix the Disney.
Dave is going to
He
fix.
he yeah, he is going to. He is doing everything in his power to make it all make sense and at least please the fans in the sense of like it all works out and lines up.
Yeah. You might not like the story arc, but I'm going to make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Um and then yeah, we've got Moff Gideon is in a very like imperialized space. We don't really know where it is. It's just he then kind of definitely a bit of a they're all warlords and all have power trips and whatnot. And he's there like, oh well, you keep mentioning Thrawn's coming back, but I hear nothing of Thrawn in the galaxy. Maybe we need new leadership. I wonder who you think should the new leadership be.
Well, I mean, it's just like forgetting how phenomenal Giancarlo Esposito is in every role he's ever done ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you look at his design, he's got like a kind of Vader-esque chess piece going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like everything about him just screams, oh, he's the heir apparent. Because Vader, like with the rule of two in the Sith, Vader was eventually supposed to get strong enough where he could kill and replace Palpatine and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And it's almost like because he's designed himself like Vader, obviously Vader's dead, Palpatine's dead. He's like, it's me. I
Yeah.
am that guy. And it's just really interesting some of the design choices into Moff Gideon and how even other highly respected Imperial people seem to be a bit shook by Moff Gideon.
Yeah. And like I think also leaning into that is like he's very much obsessed with taking their best, like he talks about taking their best from all the like the clone troopers and the Mandalorians and all these different places and building the strongest army, and quite clearly wants to rightly be like he really wants to finish off the Mandalorians and finish what he started. Like he has like a proper grudge against them. But yeah, he like threatens new leadership. But I really did enjoy that From was getting name dropped a lot.
Yeah. And that episode very deliberately came out the weekend after
yeah, so yeah,
Star Wars Celebration.
yeah.
Like you can tell that there was not a room for any delay or anything in this.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah, we kind of he does a little like stands in the middle and in a way trying to do a bit of like a royal kind of morale thing to everyone. It's very much wants he clearly wants to be the one in charge.
Uh-huh.
Which does pose an interesting thing because you've got to look as well to like the Disney trilogy. We didn't obviously Moff Gideon's not around, Thrawn's not around. Something I think one of them gets rid of the other. Whether we see it in this, I think this is going to be down the line when, and we'll get into it later, like the film that's been announced and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But there's clearly going to be some scuff of power for who's going to run the first order.
Uh-huh.
But I think it was it after the Shadow Council we then jump back to Navarro.
Yes, we go back to Navarro and we see the Imperial
the
Star Cruiser coming overhead and everyone's panicking.
And then there's like every of the first shots of it, it's like there's something on the bottom of the ship, and then we get the reveal like part as it's going out, and it's just a big Mandalorian mythosaur skull.
Which looks dope on the bottom of that
yeah,
ship,
it does.
By the way.
And I'm sorry, that fleet is ridiculous. Like just pulling up in a fucking Star Cruiser because yeah. Oh, by the way, we've done a paint job on it. Like
I want to know why they bothered. That's a lot of paint.
They're Mandalorians. They want to flex.
But there's not even like that many of them. Like
Yeah,
they,
no, this
all
so
of them have spent collectively probably about a month trying to paint that mythosaur skull
this
on there.
this is also the thing I was thinking. I was like, with how many of the dropship ones that like bow flies, they've got a bunch of them on the start, and I was like, that Star Destroyer is like, I'm sorry, you walking down a corridor and not seeing anyone for like 3 floors.
Either the Empire had far too many people operating these ships, or
The Mandos are just they're that
the
good they don't need them.
Mandalorians are severely understaffed on these ships, and the ship runs like a piece of shit where everyone's going, "This is bumpy as fuck."
Well, it'll just be that. No, it'll be like cockpit. Everyone's flying it fine, but it's like if there's an issue, there's one guy down in the engine room on his own, and they're like, "We've lost something." He's like, "Yeah, I'm
Give
working
her
on
all
it,"
she's got,
and he's like
Captain.
running to the other end of the ship where there's like the ship. He's just like fucking running around like a headless chicken. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
think it
It is
feels
kind of
lacking
funny.
on Mandalorians for the size of ship they've got,
Yeah.
but it's just they can get around that and say maybe we don't see them all, but and then yeah, so obviously they're panicking, and then the High Magistrate is like, no, it's fine, it's our friends. Look at the symbol. By the way, Mando, look, I've got a present for you. In comes IG-11, but it's
IG-12.
IG-12 now, being controlled by I forget what the little guys are
The
called.
Corellians?
The little mini ones that he met
Ceruleans,
with.
maybe? Something like that. Yeah. The little droid workers who
yeah.
Grogu loves.
And
Grogu has a reaction to them like we have a reaction to Grogu.
Yes, and Grogu sees him, and then obviously the little guy jumps out, and he's like, "Baby, no,
Bad baby, no squeezing."
yeah, bad baby, no squeeze." As he runs past him, and then High Magistrate's like, "Well, maybe someone could pilot. Maybe Grogu can fit in it." And Mando being like,
Yeah,
a
he's
classic
like,
then being dad mode is just like, no, that's not safe for the child.
yeah,
Nope.
he is too young for that.
Yeah.
let's
Kid
just put him in and see if he fits.
puts him in, and at that moment, Grogu enters toddler phase.
Uh-huh.
At that specific moment, he becomes a toddler, and the fact like they didn't need to do this, but the fact they added a yes/no button into that, like there was no need. They didn't need it, but they chose to do that. And I'm so glad they did, because then he starts walking around going, yes, yes, yes,
No, it's
yes.
a bit before that. It's like, okay, right, cool, he fits. Take him out now. And Grogu's like, no.
No. What do you mean, no? No.
You're too young for that. No. You cannot pilot that. No. And then you got the High Magistrate. He's like, he wants to do it. Yes. and then you're running around the room. Yes, yes,
it's
yes,
like,
yes.
It was so funny, but also at the same time, it's like, it's the first time that, in a way, Grogu's been able to communicate freely.
Easily, yeah.
Like, in a way that we also understand it as the viewer. So it was very cool to see that. And yeah, also very funny to have this kid now in a weaponized suit walk around going yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, like any toddler would.
It was when he like leaves in the suit and they're walking down and you just hear the echo, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And like again, the body actor for Mando being phenomenal as always, just walking looking so defeated.
Yeah, just being like that dad.
Yes, yes.
There's like,
yeah,
I shouldn't have given, and I shouldn't have let my child have this toy.
regretting getting the
Yeah.
noisy toy. Look, we were all there as kids. We got the noisy
Yeah.
toy, and then 2 days later, magically, it wasn't working anymore because Dad had taken the
Oh,
batteries
batteries
out.
have run out. Yeah. And then obviously there's the bit in the street when he's walking down. Now he's got full control. Like he can do whatever he wants in the suit. He like goes to start. He just grabs food and starts eating it. And like a dad being like, "No, you can't do that." Has to pay the vendor because obviously he's eating. And then he grabs a fruit, which I forget the name of it, but you might not know the reference yet. I don't know how much of Rebels you've started watching.
Oh, I've only seen the first episode so far.
Okay, that fruit is mentioned multiple times in Rebels as like a little fun recurring item. So yeah, it was cool to see one of those actually get picked up and then crushed because Grogu doesn't understand what he can do with the suit. And then once again, Mando has to pay. It's the perfect. I'm so glad they've done this.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So then we like everyone's landed. We get that really tense scene where
Yes,
everyone's
both
like,
clans.
"Oh, is it going to kick off?" Then the armorer's like, "Ding ding, make food, make camp, let's
Ding
eat."
ding, dinner's ready.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
like everyone check your egos at the door. We got shit to do.
yeah, and they do. I mean, they do a good job of keeping their egos in check
They
for a
do.
while.
So I guess now makes more. I know it's a little bit of a jump, but we'll talk about where that kind of ego clashing leads to. Once
Mm,
they're on Mandalore and they're on the big ship, and they're playing a kind of Mandalorian chess is the only way to really describe it. It's a
yeah,
board game that involves tactics. They're having a disagreement about how it goes. So then they both you get Axe and you get Paz Vizsla having a big old fight.
yeah, the two biggest egos.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, no one from either side can step in because that then devolves everything. We've got to let these two just solve it. And
Mm-hmm.
then further proof that Grogu is going to be the Mandalore. He's going to be the one to reunite everyone as they're fully about to go like ready to kill each other. He just gets in between them with his robot, pushes them apart, and goes, "No."
No, no, and then gives a nod to Bo, like, because he obviously sees all the Mandos are just nodding at each other when they do something. It's like he gives an
Yeah.
approving nod.
Grogu is going to be the one to unite the clans.
He is. I did find it funny with that chess bit where he's like, "Yeah, but that's a move that this piece can do," and he's like, "I don't care. This piece is now a certain type of knight. He is both pieces in one. I am allowed to do this move. I've made it up." And then they're just like throwing insults at each other.
Yeah.
Um, but that kind of Paz Vizsla kind of leading into the big brute character of I'm do what I
I don't
want,
give a
not
fuck. I'll
smart.
do what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we see obviously back when they do first meet, they have the little like speech moment of we're gonna go back to Mandalore, retake it. Who volunteers?
Yeah, then we get a little I am Spartacus moment where everyone's like,
Yes,
I volunteer, I volunteer. No,
you have
I
my
volunteer.
axe.
Yeah, exactly.
um, yeah, it's like it's a bit of a tense moment when no one's doing anything. Then it's like axe volunteers, and then you get a few of um Bo's crew, and then you get a couple of the um Forge
Children of the
crew.
Watch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Children
I
of the
guess it's
Watch.
kind of like no one wants to say it, so then you get one or two from like each side saying it, and then a couple more egos get to play with like, well, they can't represent better than we can. So like,
Well,
yeah, and then it
it's
becomes like a
also
weird kind of
like
competition itself of oh, we're all gonna do it.
yeah, and it's also kind of that thing of like the ones that are clearly just the not the leader head like facing figures of each side. The ones that probably would have immediately said yes, but they're like, well, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to say yes, and I'm the only one, and then they out me. But then as soon as like some of the bigger egos say yes, it's like, oh, okay, it's safe for me to now volunteer myself, and they get like a proper little squad going, with the plan to have one ship go down, clear things out, and then bring everyone down.
Exactly.
How wrong that went. Um,
Well, I mean, I guess this is as good a time as any, isn't it? So
mhm.
the internet is in a bit of a divide. I'm not sure how I feel. People are starting to feel like the armorer may
Is
have had
sus.
something to do. So when I was watching the episode, I'll be honest, I didn't really think anything of it. I'll be honest, when she got in the ship to take off, and I knew
So
that
I
obviously they couldn't communicate, I was
yeah.
worried that because obviously at this point I hadn't put together that got Moff Gideon was on
Well, yeah.
Mandalore. I thought they were going to show up. And I thought, oh, she's a main character by herself on that ship with side characters. Are they going to turn up and blow that all to shit and all the Mandalorians are going to be stuck on the planet?
Mm. So
How wrong I was.
yeah. So I thought it came across a little weird in the moment for me because while yes, it felt like she is trying to help bring both sides together. So it felt like she was very much trying to be, I'll take the survivors and whatnot and the injured ones, and I'll do my part that way. But then in my head, I'm like, you're the armorer. Why do you not want to be there for the like? Surely out everyone going to the forge, you're the one who should be at the forge.
Yeah.
Like it just felt weird in that sense. Like, why is she leaving and not wanting to go to the forge straight away?
Yeah,
Um,
why can't someone else who's been stuck on this planet all these years and probably could do with some help go
yeah.
off?
And this is also at the point where we'd met the three. Well, we got introduced to the three new Mandalorian guys who've been living on the
Yeah.
surface. And there's also some talk of the people on the boat being sus. Now, I don't think the people on the boat are sus. I think they have just been existing on this planet. And like they said, some people have gone underground to explore and never come back. We later find out probably why. And I think they've just been living like nomads, keeping to themselves. I don't know if you also thought this, but when that creature started breaking out of the
I thought that was
ground,
Mythsol.
I was like, oh shit, it's the Mythosaur. Mythosaur's going to come out and Bo's going to light the Darksaber
Aim
and be
it.
like, by the way, guys, I saw this guy already. Look, he's chill with me, and climb on top of it. And I was like, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, why they reacted so late, I don't know. It felt like they saw this thing coming out of the ground. They were just like, wow. Oh shit,
Well,
we're now right next to it.
I guess we just don't know if like moving rocks in
Yeah,
that way
true.
weren't actually that uncommon. So they're like, okay, cool, it's just doing what kind of happens.
It's just some bit of the ground collapsing or
Yeah,
something.
like that's not massively uncommon. And then last minute they see the actual thing coming out and they're like, ah, shit, what is that?
It just absolutely decimates that thing. But
Yeah.
also happens to be right next to the entrance down into the forge, so handy. They all
Yeah,
run off down and
that's a very
just,
standard kind
yeah.
of.
Oh no, something went wrong, but we're right
Yeah,
where we need to be.
yeah, it's just writing in it.
Yeah. And then yeah, they disappear off down and like arrive in the they're like, this is what remains of the forge. And it looked like, I mean, we've seen what it looks like underground with like the aesthetic, and it does look cool being back on Mandalore and seeing it in live action. But then they get ambushed, but not by any ordinary stormtroopers. These are Beskar troopers, I guess you can call them.
Do we know if they're actually wearing Beskar?
So there's later on, Moff Gideon mentions about he used an alloy,
Yeah.
and their shots at first, some of them were bouncing off. So I think that's why, like, they can. So I think we've talked about in the past why like Mando's suit is so strong, but these other guys aren't, and it's
Yeah,
because
because Mando's
Mando,
got so much Beskar.
his is pure Beskar, which is, by the way, he's basically wearing like a platinum suit.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he's dripped out in value.
yeah, and I guess like the argument could be, well, you're walking around in a suit with diamonds, how are you not getting robbed? And he goes, well, because how's anyone gonna fucking rob me?
Yeah.
Are you gonna fuck around with a Mandalorian, one of the ultimate warrior species, who's also dripped out in full Beskar? Or do you step out of the way and go, hello?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's some sort of Beskar alloy. And obviously all their suits are very Mandalorian-esque in design. Like a weird a mix slash blend of like the new stormtroopers that, and then like Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
Very cool little fight scene. Getting to see more Mandalorians versus potentially Mandalorians.
Yes. So I mean that's still a bit up in the air.
I'm wondering if it's a mix of some Mandalorians and some just conscripted stormtroopers, or like loyalists to
Well,
Gideon.
we know Moff Gideon has definitely got a knack for creating some of his own loyalists.
Yes, he has like loyalists from his old crew that are still
Yeah.
rocking around.
What I found really interesting was because maybe I'm just a dumbass. At this point, I was only just starting to consider. Uh, my initial thought when I first saw them stormtroopers were, oh, they were waiting for them, not this is their base.
So I was like,
As
oh
they
shit, it's a trap.
Yeah. So as they start chasing them, like the ones that are left
Mm-hmm.
down like them caves, I'm like, oh shit, this is a trap. They're operating here, and then we start seeing them corridors, them very imperial corridors.
So it goes
and I'm
from
like, oh shit.
yeah. This was the thing. I was like, at that first initial point, and they retreat, and Bo's like chase them.
Yeah, onwards.
I was like, oh shit, this was an ambush. Like they're returning to wherever like their ships are landed, and they're gonna try and escape.
Yeah.
And then they're running through cave, and then every so often a bit of the cave has some metal walling that's very imperial-esque design, and I'm like, hang on, this is structured buildings that are not old structured build. This is new infrastructure. And then it's like they end up in a corridor that is an imperial corridor. And I'm like, at the moment I was like, oh shit, this is their base. Like they've taken this over. And then we get the full fucking scene of the cliffside.
And while Star Wars has always got a decent amount of fair criticism,
Hmm.
I think it says a lot about how consistent they are. That you can tell imperial structure
Oh,
from none. The fact that everyone simultaneously, when they start seeing them corridors, is like, that's imperial design, is crazy.
and that's on the art departments of Lucasfilms. Because
Like,
they have
so impressive. Fictional architecture.
yeah, and
Like,
having set design language for set
yeah,
things.
like me and you having grown up in England, we'll drive about and we'll see houses in the Victorian style. Oh, we know that was built during the Victorian
Yeah,
era
or
because of the
Tudor,
style.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
the fact that they've got historical,
Mhm.
fictional factions that's architecture is so compoundly and consistently designed
And
that
here,
we see a fucking corridor and we're like, that's Imperial, is wild.
what's even more wild is if you were probably to put stuff from the prequels, the original trilogy, Mandover, like all of from across the whole span, there will be change in how it like looks, but only subtle changes that it still overall has that imperial feel throughout, an empire
Yeah,
feel, whatever you want to call it. That even at this point, like it probably does look different to some of the older stuff, but it's like instantly everyone knows, oh shit, we're in the enemy's base. Then you get the big reveal of like, as we've seen many times in different Star Wars things, they build into rock sides. They love to do that. And then we get that, and then they show that there's fucking TIE fighters, and you're like, oh, this is base of operation.
this is not good.
And the showing the TIE fighters, it was at that point where I'm like, oh shit, this like Moff Gideon is here. Like it's not just like it's not just like a base of operation. This is Moff Gideon's base.
This is the base of operation.
Yes. Uh we get the big um fight moment. Well, we get the reveal.
Yeah.
Mando gets cut off and captured, and Grogu has to watch on. Which I'm sorry, he went down like a champ. Like
My guy was not pulling any punches.
no, and
He was
it took
he was on
four of them
smoked.
to grappling hook him to get him to stop being able to fight, and then they had to disarm him. I'm worried what they're gonna do to my man. I hope I'm worried they're gonna put him in a mind flayer thing, sort of machine, or probe
In we
him.
trust.
I think Grogu we trust. He's gonna go full IG-12 mode and get his dad back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens, and Moff Gideon does his big reveal of like,
Yeah.
I've been here the whole time.
Ally. Yeah. My new Beskar Ally drip puts on his helmet with
Which
the maul spikes.
with the same similar spikes to what the armor has, which is why people are now sus of the armor. And again, reference to. So this is where I'm unsure on the armor, right? Because we get a moment back on the boat, jumping back a little bit, where they're having like a meal, and there's mention of the Death Squad, and they're
The
like,
Death
"Oh,
Watch.
Death Watch, sorry," and being like, "Oh, for the Death Watch, I'm surprised they're still around." Oh, well, they don't exist. They were all scattered to the moons, which
Yeah.
people have taken of. She was part of Death Watch,
Mm-hmm.
which would lead into why she has the spikes like Darth Maul, because Death Watch allied with Maul.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's a sense of, yes, she was part of that, and then it's like Moff Gideon just. I mean, he's the evil guy. He's obviously going to be like, "Oh, Maul was a great figure." Also had a thing with the Mandalorians. I'm going to also just tie into that. Whether or not they actually are connected, we don't know. But yeah, his suit looks sick. The black and red, definitely going for that Sith Mandalorian vibe.
Well, I guess the other interesting thing is if Moff Gideon has been able to work out how to forge Beskar alloy,
Mm.
it's clearly like something that you can work out pretty easily. So why is the armor even important
So,
unless she taught him?
well, here's my thought. I'm gonna go with the thought process of some of those. We'll call them Beskar troopers are Mandalorians. It, some of Death Squad or ones that did go underground or just got recruited and turned to him, whatnot. I think there are some, and I would imagine some of them were armorers because I remember the armorer said in the Great Forge there was many armorers working. So there are more. She's not the only one that knows how to do stuff with Beskar. It could have just been another armorer that has turned sides. Maybe it is her feeding information about how to make the alloy.
That just feels a bit too convenient, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I think there's some Mandalorians have helped feed him how to make an alloy or have done the legwork and he's just using it. But then, yeah, he does this whole thing. He's like, yep, see you later. Caught you in a trap. Door's shut. The front door opens. Fat firefight. The man, Paz Viz, going full ham mode with that minigun. Absolutely.
My guy was ready to fight God.
He was rinsing them while Bo is using the Darksaber to cut themselves a way out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, the whole time that front door's down and he's doing his little like speech like how we got Mando, blah blah blah. I'm like, why the fuck are you not cutting through the door and just going at him? You've got essentially got a fucking lightsaber. Well, it is a lightsaber at your side. Just cut through the door. Come on.
Uh-huh.
But no, she cuts them out the back door to give them a chance to escape. Meanwhile, Paz Vizsla's like rinsing people. Like my guy is dropping them like flies. Like every single wave is like next wave, just rinsing them to the point where the classic game mechanic here, gun overheating. Like he melts, like he full also is that minigun till it's melted itself.
Yeah, and then he uses it as a melee weapon.
Yeah, then he's like,
well,
shit,
you.
it stopped firing. Well, blunt force weapon. And then he just starts
the old Borderlands gun where instead of reloading, you just throw it as a hand grenade.
Yeah, and then he just starts grabbing them and throwing. Like he full on just hand to hand combat modes, and like he even gets one of the guys and just starts beating the shit out of him on the ground, and you're just like, okay, this man is fighting to the end. And then the way that he just kicks the last two off.
Oh yeah, he didn't even want to risk them being unconscious. He's like, you better be fucking dead.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, this is Sparta, and just kick them off the edge. At which point you're like, oh shit, he's like beat the fuck up and tired now, but like he won. And yes, like the Praetorian guards that Moff Gideon had asked for, so they arrive. Now, we saw the Praetorian guards in the Disney trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
These ones look way fucking better. And don't get me wrong, I never had a problem really with how they looked. I know a lot of people hated the look of them. I think they look way better with like a more of a Knight/Mandalorian-esque helmet and a bit more of a Mando-esque armor. But they were still rocking the like electric purple-y weapons.
Yeah.
They're very cool. And unfortunately, yeah, they just at that point it's like you can't really do much because they're essentially lightsaber-esque weapons. And
I mean, I think the whole point was make Paz Vizsla look like an unstoppable force.
Mm-hmm.
So that when these three come in and make light work of him, the viewer really understands the stakes of how dangerous these three are.
Yeah, they're like elite force with elite weaponry. Yeah. And even then, it took 3 of them to take Paz Vizsla down.
Mm-hmm.
But they're, yeah, brutal brutal end, but what a final stand from the man.
Always.
The sad thing is, like, Bo Katan, that's the second Vizsla now she's watched die fighting so she can get away. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and the man's got a son.
Yeah. That I am so down for Grogu and Vizsla's son to just go ham and then end Gideon as like four dads.
Well, it's like his sons are the last. Well, we presume one of the last Vizslas, so he's got a pretty like big weighted name to carry in Mandalorian in the future.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the Praetorian Guards, very sick. I mean, we've known about them coming for since season 2. There was a picture leaked
Uh-huh.
when season 2 is in filming, and everyone's been waiting to see when the fuck they're gonna show up. I think it delivered. Also, again, helps Phil Dave once again helping make sense of like, oh look, Praetorian Guards were a force that was put together.
Mm-hmm.
Back here, this is why they rock up, and we never really saw them. They're kind of like a new thing. I'm
It's
trying to think what else went down.
it's a big one, and it leaves a lot for the
Finale.
finale.
Yes, because you've got like going into the finale now. You've got obviously them guys are on the run, trying to get back to the surface or whatnot, out the cave. You've got Armor has gone back to the fleet that's above Mandalore that has no contact with them. Then you've got Mando's been captured. There's a lot of people speculating we're gonna get Boba Fett and Fennec rock up to help and to also bring the Manticore.
Yeah.
Now, if that's true and we get a Boba Fett on Manticore, Bo Katan riding a Mythosaur,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know what Jin's doing. He needs his own. Maybe him and Grogu can get that other giant creature under control. We know Grogu's good with animals.
I
Um,
just feel because Grogu's been just a little bit of like a cute slash comedy character this series. Not in a
yeah,
bad way. There's not been like a big role for him to play. I've got
yeah.
a feeling he's got a big moment coming up.
I think the reason he got the IG-12 suit is he is going to go on an absolute rampage getting his dad back. Because it's, even though it hasn't got the memory circuit of the IG-11, it has the same weapon system. So I'm ready for Grogu to just like full force focus and just unlock some like forgotten knowledge and just go full
Super
machine.
Saiyan.
Yeah, and just absolute tear through like a squadron on his own.
Yeah, I'm down for it to be honest. And he is seeming more and more Mandalorian by the day.
Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna get a big space battle as well, because obviously all the TIE fighters or TIE destroyers were going.
Interceptors and bombers, yeah.
Yeah, they were setting off. So we're gonna get a huge space battle with the fleet. Something's gonna have to happen on the surface. Um, yeah, it's there's a lot still to come. I'm
Yeah,
hoping we get like a fat episode.
I want to know more about Gideon's past. I
Hmm.
feel like there's a key bit of information hidden in his past that's going to blow this whole thing wide open.
I think
Like he's some kind of Mandalorian who was fucking ostracized or something.
mm, I think he is a fanatic of Darth Maul,
Maybe.
and but then in the sense of like, because Darth Maul, for a very brief moment, was in control of Mandalore. Um, I think he's jealous of what he failed to accomplish. Because the ones on the like dark side and the Imperial, they're always just greedy for more power than their fellow imperialists. Like they all just want to one up each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a pure greed for completing something that they failed to do, which is get Mandalore under control.
Yeah,
He wants
could be
to be
right.
that guy and then sees that as his ticket to then running things. Psych Thrawn's going to come along and just absolutely smack him down.
Yeah. But it's been good so far, and I cannot wait for next week's episode.
Yes, big finale.
But then that brings us on to a bit of a trailer season for the second week in a row.
Yeah, more trailers again.
We are well in trailer time. With the Marvels trailer.
Yes. Which I wasn't expecting us to get, I'll be honest.
It looks fun.
It does look a lot of fun.
Really fun.
So, for those that aren't aware, the Marvels trailer is Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau, but we don't actually know
Monica
what her.
Rambeau. So, I think
in the comic she's called. Is it Proton?
I don't think it is. 1 second.
Forget.
Monica Rambeau.
It's something in that esque.
Comics.
But I forget.
Oh my god! Come on. She's Photon.
Photon. That's it.
She's also gone by something else. 1 second.
Yeah, but we don't know her MCU official superhero name yet.
Don't think she has one as of yet. I think she's also been the Spectre or something.
Right.
Spectrum and Pulsar she's also been.
Okay.
Spectrum was 2013 when she started using that name. So that is the most recent name, so that's might be what they go for. I don't
Possibly.
know.
But yeah, we see the three of that. We've got the three of them. Well, we saw that their powers are interlinked or entangled. There's
so
also
anytime they appear to be using their powers, they appear to be swapping places with each other.
So there's a shot where Captain Marvel has a bangle on as well, which, in my opinion, is like, okay, so that's how her and Miss Marvel are doing the switch places. Like that's how they've become linked that way. Monica Rambeau, being that she went, like she's got affected by weird hex magic shit that's unlocked some powers in her. It's gonna be a fun, and like the one fight clip we saw, the three of them, like they got it dialed in at some point, and like the combo, it looks so fun watching that. That fight's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Brie Larson looks phenomenal as Carol Danvers. I don't know quite what they've changed with her styling, but it looks a lot better.
I don't know if it's throughout, but I know there's one point where she goes back to the classic suit style. So I think there's a bit of like change in that. I will note Nick Fury looks, so considering we got Secret Invasion's trailer the other week, and we saw a very rugged, older Nick Fury. This has to be set before, because Nick Fury looks young and tidy, and is he still Skrull?
I disagree.
Oh.
I think this only got delayed because Secret Invasion got delayed, and this has to come out after Secret Invasion. I think what you perceive as him looking younger is just he's not on the run anymore, so he's able to have a proper meal, a shower, and a shave.
Possibly. I was wondering if it's maybe going on at a similar time, because they're not on Earth all the time. They're on Earth for some of it. There's a lot of those spending in the Saber space station, I think it was called.
Yes. So you've got Shield, which is what protects Earth.
Yeah.
Then you have Sword, which in the comics is what was used for space.
Yeah, which we saw some of in.
And then the Saber space station is obviously Saber's a play on, like, you got a sword and you got a saber. So it's kind of like that's just the name of the space station. I don't know if they've changed it slightly so it's a different separate thing, but that's the idea.
I'm wondering if, because we saw Sword in WandaVision.
Yes.
But then it kind of got shown that the guy was in charge of it was corrupt and a bit
of a dick, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe they name changed it to Saber to be like, we're a new, like companies do. New management, new name. We're not the same company anymore, but it is the
We
same
are not
company.
the war criminals from before.
But yeah, it looks a lot of fun. There's I can't remember, Park Seo-joon. I can't remember. I don't know how to say his last name. His character gets shown, who's no one knows who that is. Potentially some alien race.
Yeah.
And then there's like a lot of fun sort of like we saw in Miss Marvel, like the fun teenager moments where she's like, "Oh my god, we're a team," and Carol Danvers was like,
it's like, "Oh my god, you're Nick Fury. We're a team. We're a team." She meets I forget the cat's name. And she's like, she's like all the tens.
Yeah, and then we see kittens, which I'm like,
yeah, Flurkin army. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm so down. That'd be great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The vibe seems good.
It does. It does seem good. I don't think we don't really know much else about it at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think there's going to be an outcome from Secret Invasion that's important.
I agree.
And I mean, I feel like we've said it for the last couple of films and it's still not really happened. I feel like this has got to kick on to something more notably substantial.
Yeah, well, that's something to note. They're investigating the jump point above Earth. That's like which is what the Guardians have used to jump around. I'm wondering if there's something with that that's going to be involved in like causing multiverses to jump in. Like maybe that's what it's going to be playing into. So everything's playing into the multiverse in some way and leading to Kang. So yeah, I do think you're right though.
If it can live up to the fun that the trailer gave off, I think we could be in for a treat.
Yeah, I agree.
As with the first Captain Marvel film, there was already weirdos who were writing it off because it's an all female cast. Just like they decided Captain Marvel was like people acted like Captain Marvel's the worst MCU film. And it just isn't. Like not even close. Is it like Winter Soldier tier? No. But it's better than a lot of other stuff we've had in the MCU. Let's keep some perspective. On to more women being fucking dope and awesome.
Yes.
Ahsoka trailer.
Oh.
Now, I know you got a lot more hype for this than me because you'd already seen all of Rebels. I've only just started Rebels. So I'm sure you're going to be able to fill a lot more in for us here.
Yes.
What I do know
Go on.
is that it looked phenomenal. And having already watched a couple of episodes of Rebels now, the character design for the characters who are in Rebel that are in this as well is phenomenal. Hera and Sabine look brilliant.
They do. And we also saw Chopper.
Yeah.
Which I probably was more hyped for because I've just we've had him cameo in the background of Rogue One. It was I think confirmed, but like you will grow to love Chopper as you watch Rebels, and you're gonna be excited to see what shenanigans he's gonna get up to in live action.
I'm very excited.
But yeah, so we saw Hera in I think the ship's called Ghost One.
Yes, the Ghost.
The Ghost. Looks incredible. Sabine looks incredible. You won't know this, and it's not a spoiler or anything, but in the trailer there's a shot of Sabine on a tower as ships fly over. That is a direct recreation of the final shot in Rebels.
Oh, okay.
So they've taken the final shot and redone it in live action. Now, to note, which this is where I've been getting confused for a while on this build-up, is there's been a lot of like, this is a continuation from Rebels, but then it's also, we saw Ahsoka and Mando, so is it set in the Mando thing? She's older. Ahsoka is going to be set after season 3 of Mando. But there is going to be flashbacks and time hops back to previous
Got ya.
stuff.
Got ya.
Which is why we're also going to see Anakin and Darth Vader apparently at some point in this. So I'm thinking that shot is her. There's a mention of when they left or whatever, or where they left off, and it'll time hop and show us that. Because that shot nearly threw me off. I was like, oh, they're going to carry on from the end, but no. I'm trying to think what else because I don't want. There's David Tennant's back as Huang, the droid, the lightsaber droid, which you'll remember from Clone Wars, the one that helped the younglings. Interested to see how he's going to be important. I'm wondering if Ahsoka's going to need him to. It's either going to be something to do with her own lightsabers, or it's going to be something to do with his mass knowledge of Jedi that because he can remember every Jedi he's helped build a lightsaber for.
Yeah.
So whether it's going to be that for finding people, maybe.
It's definitely going to be interesting, and I'm excited to get see Thrawn.
Yes, Lars Mikkelsen is back as live action Thrawn. We see the back of his head because obviously they don't want to reveal him yet.
Which had the internet melting.
Yes, I'm so ready. And then we got that. Well, we already have had Zeb reveal in Mando, so I would imagine we'll see Zeb in Ahsoka. The other two people that we saw in the trailer, I had to look up because there's a couple of like red lightsaber wielding people, who we've not seen before. So the older guy is Baylan Skoll apparently, and the girl was Shin Hati. That apparently in other Star Wars stories or something, they are a master and an apprentice of the dark side. So some people were going his lightsaber looks orange.
Well, I saw a TikTok about this.
Mm-hmm.
So someone asked Dave Filoni about that. He was like, "Did I detect a hint of orange in that lightsaber?" And he's like, "Oh, you have a good eye." Yes. So there's like a twofold reason for this. I remember watching the original trilogy that Vader's lightsaber wasn't always red. Sometimes it was a little bit lighter and more of an orange. So it's a little bit of an homage to that. But it's also maybe a case of maybe not as all as it seems with this character. So maybe they're not pure evil. But an orange lightsaber already has a meaning in Star Wars lore now, doesn't it?
So
I know it didn't originally, but they do now cover a lot more colors.
Yeah. So yellow and white is like grey Jedi, like neutral. Orange is something to do with the Sith side. I'm not sure if it's someone that is like a Sith. The lightsaber changing.
In Legends, orange were most often wielded by Force sensitives who identified as grey Jedis.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that are like kind of more leaning dark side from grey Jedi. Like they're not straight neutral. So it could be a case of it.
White is supposed to be like the perfect grey Jedi.
Yeah. Then it goes yellow.
Is more Jedi side of.
Yes, possibly.
Jedi, and then orange is more Sith side.
Possibly. And it could be that they're going from being Sith to grey, or it could be they're going grey to Sith. Because if you want to go with the lore idea that you bleed lightsabers,
you bleed the kyber crystal to make it red,
and all that, then it's like the color of the lightsaber represents the person. It's not necessarily the color of a crystal. So in that theory, like his lightsaber could be slowly changing.
But that's why Ahsoka's is white, isn't it? Because she has to heal the kyber crystal from an Inquisitor. Is that correct?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The shot of them two fighting.
Yeah, that's in like the place between or something.
Which you won't have a fucking clue what it is. I'm not going to spoil that.
It's a name I know. Was it ever mentioned in Clone Wars?
No. You might have heard it from someone mentioning about Rebels. You will discover in Rebels what that is. And if that is true, I'm very excited. to see.
So it's big and important and scary and cool.
Yes. Other than that, I don't think there was much else like huge revealed. Obviously, visually looks stunning.
Yeah.
There was one very small detail that I forget the actress's name for Ahsoka. But she's obviously spent like they've spent a lot of time on how to like details that will help transfer obviously Clone Wars animated Ahsoka into live action. And there's one bit where she does like when she's holding a lightsaber, she does like the sort of like the rock on symbol with her fingers.
Yeah.
That is from the animated thing, and she does it in the live action. Loads of people picked up on that detail and were really happy about like just small things like that really show
Yeah.
they've put a lot of thought. And I'm not surprised. This is Dave's child we're dealing with here, essentially. He is
Dave is gonna make sure it's done proper.
He is gonna make sure this is done perfectly. So yeah, I'm very excited for Ahsoka, and I do think so. Here, going back to kind of Mando and what we might see in Mando finale, I think we get a, I think we get a throne reveal in Mando to set up Ahsoka.
Quite possibly. Quite
Um,
possibly.
But yeah,
And then we also got a Visions Volume 2 trailer.
yes. Which
I'll
when
be honest.
I looks, it's gonna be so good. It's just gonna be so good.
So I was a big fan of Visions Volume 1. I know
Mhm.
a lot of people only had some episodes they liked, which, I mean, when everyone's
That's the
doing their
point.
own style, yeah, it's very unlikely that people are going to love everyone. I definitely had ones I preferred to the other ones.
Mhm.
What I will say is the wider array of animation styles makes this a lot more appealing to me. Because I'm going to be able to see what each animation
Mhm.
style does really specially. Whereas before, where they were like all anime styles, but just slightly. That
Well, yeah. So
basically season 1 was anime, but all subgenres of anime.
well, yeah. It was
Whereas this is just different styles of animation, full stop.
when they announced all the studios. We talked about this, but so season one was all traditional anime studios, which means they're from Korea or Japan, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So they all have similarities in style, but there was definitely, like you said, there was some episodes people enjoyed more than others. Depends on your taste. That's the whole point. These are all meant to be like you're gonna like some, you're not gonna like others. We've compared it to Love, Death, and Robots before. This is exactly what they're doing. I was the same, very excited with season 2 of this that they were going complete new set of studios, no repeats, and a much wider variety of styles. We talked about it when they announced it. Obviously, Aardman Studios, which do Wallace and Gromit. We were very excited to see what that looks like. The couple of shots we got of that one, it is 100%. I am watching Wallace and Gromit somehow have entered into Star Wars. Like,
yeah.
It
looks great.
Did you ever watch? There was like a, I think it was on CBC maybe, but there was like a done by the same studio, but it was animals, and they did. It was like little funny sketches.
I'm not sure I saw them though.
I'll have to find. It was Creature Comforts.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
That
if
name does ring a bell. I never watched it, but the name does ring a bell.
it's basically like animals being interviewed, and it's all funny little short episodes. It just gives me the same vibe. Like instantly when you see it, you're like, "This is Aardman Studio. This is going to be just wonderful." But also the opening shot with like the more painterly style, love that.
It's going to be really cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to. I really do hope this has the same success as season 1, and we just keep getting more seasons of this and
Even
more
if
and
they
more
only
studios.
do it like every 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah,
just give us, and they don't even need to give a fuck about lore. Just
well, yeah, that's
like
the point.
really take liberties with stuff and just like let creativity run wild with Star Wars just as like the core theme.
Here's the thing that's going to happen from these, because I know the one that everyone loved from season 1, the samurai one, ended up getting an official comic.
Yeah.
Which still technically doesn't make it canon, but it's more like they've pulled more of it in. Yeah. What could happen is like So these studios could just come up with like a fun thing, like the umbrella lightsaber. Dave's gonna see that and go, "Fucking hell, that's sick! I'm gonna find a way to add that into real
I will
canon."
make that law.
Yeah. So it just opens up for like fun stories that haven't got those restrictions of canon and can go wild with whatever they want to do just in the world of Star Wars. So
yeah, for sure.
it's always going to be a lot of fun.
But let's get more in depth into what happened with Star Wars Celebration.
Yes.
So I didn't actually watch any of it because I kind of forgot it was going on, and I was grinding more Minecraft like a maniac.
I was away, but I tried to grab what I could on Twitter.
Yeah. So we'll go across some of the main bits here. So 3 films got announced as coming soonish. So we've got James Mangold, who is doing a film set at the dawn of the Jedi, which is Old Republic era by the sounds of it.
Yep,
which
right.
Is exciting.
Right at the start of the Jedi, which is kind of what I've said I've wanted is like to go way back to like Height of Sith or like really early on.
We just didn't think we get to see it, but we're getting it, baby.
So I'm very excited for that film.
Yeah. Then we've got Filoni getting a film.
Yes. Which he said has come about because of him slowly doing more with Mando and getting to do obviously run the Ahsoka series. Kind of let him get his foot in the door.
Yeah, he's forced the door open and gone, "You gonna give me a full film now? Yeah. You're gonna give it to me?"
It's like, oh, so can I direct one, just a film? So he's doing a film that is going to close out the Mandoverse,
High Republic Mandoverse,
the Mandoverse, which is Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Ahsoka. It's going to close all that out.
This film is going to explain how Palpatine returned.
I actually like that film. I can see it now, right? Ahsoka is gonna do her whole thing of searching for like Thrawn and all that malarkey. It's all gonna lead into Thrawn. Something happened to him, but then it's gonna the big underlying thing of the film is gonna be this is how Palpatine gets to the point where like they start cloning him. Like they're gonna show how they figure it out, I think, so that we know. Then when you go into the films, you're like, oh well, they figured out that tech. It's only a matter of time.
What I will say is, if in this film we do not get an elderly Wrecker chilling with Grogu, I'm going to be upset. I need him to find a way to make it work.
To make Wrecker survive all the way through.
Yeah. I need big boy Wrecker with Grogu in tiny little Mandalorian armor, chilling on his shoulder, charging.
I don't know. I'm still, as much as I'd love Wrecker to make it all the way to there, I'm worried. We'll mention Bad Batch, but like I'm worried for them. But yeah. And then the third film.
Yeah. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is doing a film set after the sequel trilogy.
Which I don't think anyone saw coming.
Yeah, starring Daisy Ridley back as Rey, in which she's building a new Jedi Order.
Yeah, it's going to be set 15 years? Something like, 15 years. I mean, we
both said the same number there, so that's probably a good sign.
15 years after the end of episode 9.
Yeah, and people have already been doing some maths. That would make Grogu about 90 years old.
Which means he should be talking.
Which is right around the time that Yoda became a Jedi Master. So it's more than feasible that Grogu's going to be like competent in what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So
I have seen the fan base is kind of split because, and I'm of the opinion, I think everyone can agree, the Disney trilogy wasn't that it was a terrible storyline. It was just a jumbled mess because of
Yes.
the director changes, and then it's like storyline. It just all got lost and messed up.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been great. I do think Daisy Ridley was great as Rey. I think Rey's character was great. Them bringing her back feels like I kind of hope Dave, even though he's not the one directing it, I hope he has a strong hand in it, as he's been trying to repair everything on the build up. I hope that it goes one or two ways, right? They either do stuff that repairs the story enough and makes people go, okay, we like this character now. A bit like with Anakin. When Anakin, the prequels came out, people hated the Anakin character. They didn't really like it. Now everyone loves Anakin and Christian. And it's
I
like,
think Star Wars fans are kind of like COD fans. They hate anything new until it's not new anymore, and then they begin to instantly reminisce.
yeah,
So, the people who hated Rey are going to watch this new film and go, they ruined Rey. Bring back old Rey. Old Rey was great. You have ruined her.
or do you know what's going to happen is people will watch and go, this is what Rey should have been. Why did we not? Why, like, it's going to either save the Disney trilogy, in my opinion, to the point, not like to make it a masterpiece, but like in the sense of it feels better than it did when it first came out. Or if this film isn't well received, like it's just going to, everyone's just going to be like, everything after the Mandoverse film shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It,
I'm hoping that I hope all of these films are good and successful,
yes, so am I.
but I want the Filoni and Manigold film,
Mm-hmm.
or Mangold film, sorry, to do markedly better, because A, I really care about the Mandoverse being closed off
Yeah,
nicely, and I want them to have a legitimate reason to delve deeper into the Old Republic.
yes. I'm I want the Daisy Ridley Ray one to do well, because I want, and I would hope, I want them to use it as an opportunity to fill in a lot of problems with that trilogy, like they've been trying to do. Like it's an opportunity for them to kind of retcon and fix stuff, which will be good. Um, I think the good thing though as well is like, although these three films were announced, we've talked about that Tahiti work. I can't say his
Taika
Taika
Waititi.
Waititi. He is still doing his trilogy.
Yeah, so after I think the first day, a lot of people were concerned that his film had been silently scrapped. And
Yes.
then on like the second day, they confirmed, while there's no updates on it right now, he's still diligently working away on it.
Yeah, and they are not adding other people. So they've got these directors doing one each. They've said like they don't want to mess with his style and his vision. So they're not going to try and put anyone else into it to
And
help.
that film is going to be divisive as fuck when it comes out.
Yes.
Because Taika Waititi has a very him style,
Mm-hmm.
and Star Wars fans are very particular.
Mm-hmm.
That film is going to get shit on relentlessly on the timeline, but I know me and you both quite enjoying his style are probably
Mm-hmm.
going to love it.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people that will love it. But I do like that, let's be honest, they've learned from the Disney trilogy that they can't just switch directors around and just chuck whoever at it in between. They need to let it be one person having a cohesive trilogy. So I'm positive in that sense that they're not going to mess with it and they're letting him do his thing. So that should be interesting.
Indeed. We also got confirmation that Bad Batch is getting a third and final season.
Yes. I'm calling it now. The However the season ends, this is not the end of the animated stuff. The next show that's going to come out is going to be based around Rex and what he's up to, and it's essentially just going to carry on straight from the end of Bad Batch season 3, just like Bad Batch carried on from Clone Wars.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear me
Okay.
out. What if instead
Oh.
Dave goes, "Oh, we're doing Old Republic stuff"?
Why
I
not
have an
both?
idea for an animated show.
Why not both?
Because you know what Dave's like. He likes to get sturdy with it.
He does, but he is loving giving us all the shows.
He is. I just don't want him to get burnt out and then have to take a really long break where it all goes to shit.
I don't. Yeah, I get you. I just think
Dave, look after your mental health, please.
because
For
you
the
got to
love of the
think
Star Wars fandom.
there's still obviously depending what happens in Bad Batch season 3, it's obviously going to be an absolute rampage of them hunting down Omega. Depending how it ends, there's still going to be a lot of things that can be filled in that gap that he's been doing. That's why I'm like, oh, maybe Rex can help bridge the gap even closer to Rebels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll keep going with essentially this is all Clone Wars animated. We've said that multiple times. Whatever comes next is just going to be the next bit. It's just following a different character till he gets up to Rebels, I think, timeline wise. And then he'll be like, okay, I'm happy now. That's all been filled in and I've retconned and fixed any issues.
Yeah,
then he'll move on.
Have you seen the concern? So I think this is a slight spoiler for Rebels that I've accidentally seen. You don't need to confirm if it is or isn't.
Okay.
I feel like I saw a scene of a really old Rex in white hair, which is why I think it's Rebels, that was resembled after the person who's allegedly Captain Rex in the Battle of Endor. Having like a PTSD moment where he's like, Cody, no. And then after everyone saw Cody in Bad Batch season 2, everyone's like, oh no, is Cody gonna become good again? And then we're gonna have to watch Cody die alongside Rex. So that could be really upsetting next season. Or in this fictional show that you're thinking logically, and you're right, there's definitely room for it to go between Bad Batch and the start of Rebels.
There's gonna be some sad moments in Bad Batch season 3.
Yeah.
I see it coming. I do think there's future stuff. There's also, here's a theory, like bit of a tangent, but I saw it on TikTok. In the original trilogy, one of the I forget which one it is, but one of the bases the Rebels is going to, it's called Echo Base. Yes.
No.
And someone's like, obviously back then.
I swear to God, Dave.
I was like, obviously back then, they like it's just called Echo Base, probably because of military alphabet or whatever. But
if it's named after war hero Echo,
yeah, but if Dave's gone,
Filoni is in legitimate danger.
I have an idea for a character in an interesting way. Yeah, I saw the theory was like, are we potentially going to see something happen to Echo, which is why that base then gets called Echo?
If that ends up happening, Dave Filoni is in physical danger.
If that ends up happening, Dave Filoni is a creative mastermind.
I mean, I think he passed creative mastermind a little while ago.
But like,
when that man sat down and unironically went, I'm going to fix the Disney trilogy.
Yeah. As early as...
And the crazy son of a bitch looks like he's going to pull it off as well.
Yeah. I can't... So here's the fun thing. It's like, keeping on a little tangent. It's like, once all this is wrapped up, like Mandoverse and the new Rey film, whatever, and this whole chunk is done, and Dave can sit back and go, and the Disney trilogy makes sense. I look forward to an interview at the end of it where someone goes, so why did you take the Disney trilogy so personally?
Got gone on us being the one to deliver that interview.
And he just goes,
Dave,
well,
open invite. Drop us a DM. You can come on whenever you want, pal. Open seat.
I can't wait for like him to do an interview. He's like, well, after the end of the third one, I went to George and I was just like, we have to fix this. And it's like him to admit that like he knew as soon as he's seen the film, I'm fixing this. Like if he admits that and that's been his whole goal, I
wrote for 6 months straight.
just to fix that one line that he heard of Palpatine's back somehow.
When the man spent 9 seasons of Clone Wars making sure Anakin and General Grievous never met, we know how seriously that man takes an individual line of dialogue.
Yes, exactly. It's honestly, if it's gonna lead up to that, just purely that one line has set this man off on a path of creation, and
Does it almost not make the suffering of that trilogy worth it, though, if it gave us
that's
a
what I was just
live
about to
action
say.
Ahsoka show and The Mandalorian?
I was just about to say what was probably deemed one of the worst lines in Star Wars because everyone was like, "What the fuck? This makes no sense."
What
Has
do you mean
actually,
somehow Palpatine returned? We saw that motherfucker die 40 years ago.
it's like, has actually produced some of the best Star Wars content in years because
By accident.
Dave's trying to fix it. Wow. Anyway, we got on a bit of tangent there, but
Yeah.
also at the Star Wars Celebration, there was some details on Andor released. So season 2 is going to be set a year after.
Yeah.
Every 3 episodes is the span of a year.
Yeah.
Don't know how many episodes in total we're getting.
Well, we got 12 in the first season, so I'm going to assume we get the same.
Which
4 years.
Which takes us very close to Rogue One, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably means we only get one more season after that.
So I'm down for like a faster time-based thing of like him slowly building this thing up and building up on missions and his little team.
I think we're gonna see a lot more action this way.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to know who's also returning?
Go on.
Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Yes. So my theory that he isn't dead and that he got recaptured. We're going to be pulling that clip up eventually. You don't know how to.
No. Honest to God, it makes me just want to go watch that clip of him giving that speech again.
Mm-hmm.
Because that speech makes me ready to like fight God, even without the power of anime on my side.
Have you not seen the thing at the end of day one when all the people that were dressed up as prisoners were chanting "One Way Out" or whatever and running through the convention?
Nice.
But yeah,
that Andor show is just peak Star Wars. As much as I love Mando, as much I'm gonna love Ahsoka, as much as I love Bad Batch, Andor is peak storytelling.
Oh,
and I can't wait for more of it.
Something else I've just remembered that we haven't put on here. There was a few little details about Skeleton Crew revealed. There was some more cast members, and then
we got to see some of the crew.
Yeah, and it's essentially going to be about a crew of youngsters.
Okay.
Traveling the galaxy. So I imagine they get up to shenanigans.
But Jude Law is not that young.
No, he isn't. But is it going to be a case
like their
of
mentor?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe. Or it's going to be, I don't know, time hopping. I don't know. There's still very little details on it, which I'm kind of all for. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we don't really know a lot about it, but
it'll be interesting to see what fits into things as well, and like what goes on.
The big one for me was the news about Acolyte.
Oh yeah, it had a new logo as well.
Yeah, so it's got a new logo, but also apparently the story is basically around two twin sisters, one who goes to the dark side and one who goes to the light.
Yeah, there's some,
which sounds interesting as fuck.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get. Do you know what that reminds me of? You know, the Star Wars MMO cinematics.
Yeah.
And there's the one of the two twin brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the cinematic, one of them turns evil and one of them stays like they has a yellow. I feel like everyone loved those cinematics from the game, right? And I've been like, oh, they told so much story in just like a cinematic more than we got in the Disney trilogy. Why do I feel like someone at Disney, someone saw that and was like, fans really love this idea of like twins going opposite paths. We should make that into something.
I mean, it's such a good story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Two twins, both Force sensitive. One goes light, one goes dark. Come on now.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for Acolyte. That's also going to be something that's going to be great.
Yep.
And then the other kind of big announcement at the celebration was Return of the Jedi is returning to theaters.
April 28th.
Yes, I
for the
presume it'll be on.
film's 40th. I don't know how many theaters it's being shown in.
No, and I don't know if it's on for like a week or so. Like if they're doing it for a little short
So
while.
here's the thing I also am really interested about.
Mm-hmm.
Are they showing legitimately the original film, or are they showing the version that's available on Disney Plus? Because I have never actually seen the original film, because by the time I was old enough, it's impossible to get the original film.
Yeah, I'm not.
I've only ever seen a digital version of it, and even since I've been born, there's been like 3 or 4 uplifts to it. So if they are actually showing the legitimate original film, I'm willing to like trek into London to see that. If they're just showing what I can watch on Disney Plus, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, it's cool they're doing it. I'm sure some people are gonna love it, but it's not worth my time.
Apparently, it is a re-release of the classic film, but I don't know if that means because obviously the film in general is a classic film now, but I don't know if they say which version.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
they've
mean, the only way
announced it yet.
I guess the only way we'd really have a chance of knowing is if at the end we see Hayden Christensen isn't Anakin.
Hmm.
That's going to be pretty big giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. They haven't said. I can't find anything on if they've said what version it is. Because they just showed a poster.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's really cool. And like I said, I'm
Mm.
sure a lot of people will love being able to go and see them. And if it was playing at like my local cinema, I'd be tempted.
Yeah,
But I
that's
just,
the thing.
if it's only at select cinemas, I'm only making the trek if it is something I've genuinely not seen before because I've never been able to.
I look forward to once all these like the Mando film and everything's done, a cinema needs to put on a marathon that goes in timeline order. Episode 1 even shows all the important animated Clone Wars.
Also, like, get rid of all the filler episodes and just show
Yeah,
the main arcs.
goes all the way through Mando, Ahsoka, all the way to the
What
final.
do you reckon, Horry? At 10,000 subs, we rent out a cinema for a weekend and do it.
I think we might need longer than a weekend. I don't know how much runtime all that is.
Well, we just agreed to no pauses and people just pee when they need to pee.
Yeah. Everyone goes to pee during episode 2.
Episode 2, the toilet break.
And then you can have another one at episode 7 because, yeah. But I think that was all the Star Wars news.
Yeah.
Other than some little bits.
And then HBO came out with some huge news.
Yes. Something
so
we talked about a while back.
So HBO Max and Discovery Plus are merging their streaming services to create Max.
Such a shit name.
It really is. And it's all coming from the ego of these two companies that are merging. Because they're like, well, I don't want your name in it. Well, I don't want your name in it. Fine, we'll just be like an adjective. Well, we can't be plus because that would be shit. Okay, let's be Max.
I'm surprised they weren't Max Plus.
Yeah. So there's gonna be 3 tiers. So Max with ads is going to be $9.99 a month.
Yep.
Ad free is going to be $15.99 a month.
Which, just to note, is how much HBO Max costs at the moment.
And then Ultimate ad free is going to be $19.99 a month.
Now, have you seen that the Ultimate ad free is the only way you can get 4K?
Okay, no, I hadn't. So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So my previous logic before I had that bit of information was with ads is obviously with ads.
Yeah.
Ad free is
normal streaming service
on like stuff, but also in the app they were going to allow shows that are being shown live.
Okay.
Like on TV, but you can watch them from anywhere via a mobile device, and they would still have their ads unless you got the Ultimate ad free.
Right.
That was my previous logic. But if that's just, oh, it's ad free and you can get 4K, that makes sense. That is still very expensive. More
So
expensive than Netflix, and you still have to watch ads is crazy.
so ads is, as you would expect, there are ads. It's you can do two devices at the same time and it's HD. Ad free is still two devices, HD, obviously no ads, but you can download for offline 30 episodes or 30 things of content or something. You can download so much offline content to watch
Like
offline.
a month
I
or
presume a month. I'd have to relook that up. There was something about like offline content,
okay.
which some people, I guess, if they're flying
Well,
a
I
lot
mean,
and stuff, have
yeah,
use for
I'm flying to Ireland and back this weekend. I've downloaded half a season of Rebels to watch on the plane.
that. There you go. And then Ultimate Ad Free has all those things and has 4K,
And I
which
imagine it's like unlimited downloads.
possibly
It
I
is
can't.
fucking wannabe.
Well, who knows? Because I
Okay,
saw
let's
a
be
lot of
honest here.
people were salty about that, like essentially price locking 4K.
I mean, that's not a big surprise. Loads of platforms
It's
starting to
not.
do that. And I don't actually have an issue with that. A lot of people on mobile devices for streaming can't make the most out of 4K. Even for a lot of people who have 4K TVs, myself included, a lot of the time, if stuff isn't shot natively in 4K, it's just upscaled footage anyway, which doesn't look that much better.
Okay, Max Ultimate Ad Free also can have 4 streams at the same time going.
So that's also good. Here's the thing. We are in a global recession, cost of living crisis.
Mm-hmm.
$10 a month to watch something with ads
Mm-hmm.
bucks all trends.
Yeah, it's the thing is, it's like you look at HBO Max now, and it's $15.99, and I think already people are like, yeah, HBO Max isn't worth it. And a lot
It'd
of
want to be worth it. They do have more originals coming than previously, which can help them.
yeah,
Which we'll get into in a minute as well, because there's a couple more. But the big thing is they need to make sure it's available universally, because if they're going to put all of these DCU shows and again the other stuff that's been announced that we'll discuss in a minute, and you can't watch it unless you're in the country at them price points, they're not going to last that long.
no, yeah, I think it's gonna become the point where, yeah, like you said, it needs to be global, and it's all gonna come down to releases. Like people, uh, this is the thing, right? Netflix is cheaper, but people are now having the issue of like Netflix is trying to block password sharing and not letting you do shit like that, and the content's kind
Like
of,
checking at home once a month.
yeah, and the content's kind of dropped off a bit of like worth it.
And they're cancelling the good stuff and letting the bad stuff get more
Yeah,
seasons. The decision
Max
making is not ideal at the minute.
Max having the whole like 2 streams at the same time sort of thing, nothing about like that's good for the price point. These exclusive series, and if they need to have all the DC stuff, like it needs to be global, and this shit needs to be good. Like the only way people are going to be willing to pay that is, well, it's the situation of like people are going to start canceling Netflix and just get Max, or just like there needs to be, I don't know.
It needs to be the HBO quality of shows like The Last of Us, etc. Despite the fact it's on a streaming service,
Yeah. Do you know what
they
I would?
cannot let quality dip.
Do you know what I want to see a streaming site do? Is
Not gouge its customers.
obviously, but say like take for example this, right? You've got the ad free at $15.99. Someone wants to pay that and they get all like access to all the shows or whatever. You should be able to subscribe for a like a lot cheaper. If there's like, I just want to watch the Penguin show that's coming out, let me pick that and have a subscription just for that show's runtime, and you have 7 days each episode that comes out to watch it, and at the, or like, I don't know, you get access to just that show. and you can go back and watch it as many times as you want. But like, just let me pick like a show for like $3.99 or something, and I can just subscribe for just that.
That's kind of what Prime offers, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Because in
you
Prime
can rent
Video,
some
they also
shows.
no, but they also sell some shows on
Well,
there
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Some are
And then
free,
they're
and some
connected to
you,
your account.
yeah, some you can get extras stuff for.
And the good thing Prime do as well is they also have a toggle at the top, so you can hide anything that's not free, so that
Yeah,
it's just not loads of like stuff they're trying to sell you link like loitering about.
I think more people need to do that, and you'll get more customers. Because this issue now is becoming there's so many streaming services. People aren't gonna pay for Prime, Disney Plus, Netflix, HBO Max, fucking Sky. Like people aren't gonna pay for every single thing because it's just not affordable anymore.
Especially if you're going to cut down on password sharing,
Yeah,
because it's one thing for it to be, I don't know, if you want to get the $20 a month one, and that gives you
split.
4 devices at a time, but you're splitting that between 6 people because realistically, all 6 of you aren't going to watch it at the same time anyway. That's like not even $4 a month. You're like, okay, that's reasonable. But if then in 2 years' time they go the Netflix route of everyone's got to check in at the same house once a month,
See,
you're going to be like, well, that's not going to
that's
work. Is
one
it?
thought I did have. I was like, are they bargaining on they know people share
They're going to
accounts?
password share, so they're just going expensive from the rip.
Well, it's not like they're going at a price point that's expensive, but it's not ridiculously expensive. Like they're going at the price point they know people are going to share accounts, and they know a lot of people that do share accounts with friends will just like they have the agreement like we split the bill 50-50, like, or I pay for Netflix, or you pay for the other streaming service. Like, are they going with the idea of like that's going to happen? So this kind of is okay for those sorts of people because they're like, well, we share it around and we split the cost. So it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Which is I can kind of be okay with as long as they they don't try and go Netflix. I don't think any of them are gonna. I don't think anyone else tries to go what Netflix is doing because they've seen the backlash.
Trying to stop password sharing has never ever been a good idea.
No.
All you can try and do as a company that understands that you're losing money because of it is scare people into who they share their password with. Because there was a period of time where you would meet a stranger at work who would recommend something at Netflix, and they'd be like, "Oh, here's my Netflix password. Here, go watch it."
Well,
scare people off of doing that, so they only share it with close friends and family, and then you have a
just
really good job.
don't do the password sharing thing. Just do the like number of streams you can have at a time.
Yeah, I pay on mine and my partner's account. I believe the version we've got supports 2 streams at a time because when we first got it, we weren't living together and we both might want to watch Netflix at the same time. Made complete sense. There's nothing stopping me downgrading to 1 stream at a time right now.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
choose not to because I'm lazy. I could save that money. Don't test me, Netflix.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean, let's get into some of the shows that announced.
Yes.
A big one for us is the Penguin show.
Yeah, so we got a first little teaser trailer, but it was mainly like behind the scenes shots with a couple of real shots.
Yeah,
so
it's
like people have been
mix.
memeing. There's one shot where he's getting out of the car and you can see the boom mic.
Yeah, I was like,
lol, can you believe they left this in the trailer? Obviously they know it's like it's like a meme, but still really funny.
Yeah, I was like, it kind of threw me off because it was like, oh, this looks great. I was like, hang on, why the fuck are we in a behind the scenes shot? Oh, we're back to normal.
Yeah, it's a teaser trailer for the production, which has already started, but they clearly didn't have enough footage to put an actual trailer together yet.
Yeah. But yeah, Penguin's set after the first Batman film.
In between the Batman films.
Yeah. Directed by Matt Reeves again.
Yeah.
I'm
Colin Farrell is back as Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, and it's a TV show rather than a film.
Yeah.
I mean, visually, it's in the same visual style as Batman. Like, it looks stunning. We know Batman was amazing. Like, visually, it's going to look great. I'm so ready for, like, this kind of mobster-esque show.
As long as they give Matt Reeves time, I don't see how the show can be anything other than a massive success.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to be really good for the future of this Batverse that he's building because it's going to help. Like, it's something that's not going to have Batman. Like, it might mention Batman, or maybe there's a cameo at one point in the thing. But
no, it's been confirmed Robert Pattinson won't have any cameos.
Okay.
As Batman.
Okay.
They were very careful to say there won't be any Robert Pattinson cameos as Batman.
So he might show up as
So
Bruce.
we might see a Bruce Wayne cameo.
Okay, but like, I'm glad they're doing that, because then it
But
means,
I mean, there can be references.
well, yeah,
They can be like, oh, what the fuck happened to my shipment? The fucking Bat Boss and like,
well, yeah,
shit like
it's
that.
gonna help them flesh out this world for the future of this Batverse, for Matt to have like help the fans like really get into this world that he's building. So I'm actually very excited for that. That's coming in 2024.
Yeah. The other big news was an announcement of the Harry Potter TV show. I have
a remake.
Thoughts. So here is the best way I can put this issue across.
Go on.
Harry Potter is a worldwide phenomenon. That is not up for debate. That is a fact.
Yeah.
However, I would argue that the phenomenon of the books and the phenomenon of the films are very separate. Yes, the people who enjoyed the books also went and watched the films. However, the films did a lot better than the books. And a lot more people watched the films and never read the book.
That's hi, I'm one of them.
So there are, yeah, exactly. And like, it's one of them few very widespread successes where people don't actually get shamed for watching the films and never having read the books, which is a good thing. But as a result of that, the actors and actresses involved, who are all cult heroes in British culture,
yes,
not being a part of the show is a problem. Like, especially when you look at the cast as well. The Dumbledores are both dead. Both the actors who played Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid. Alan Rickman, who played Severus Snape. All very important characters who the actors are now dead for, and without even meaning to, whatever actors get cast as these people are going to be compared. Imagine being compared to Alan fucking Rickman. This
is the issue you're gonna have, right? So the show is a remake and a closer telling of the story to the books, is how they're wording it. I know some people have been like, J.K. Rowling's gonna get, like, people that don't like her, rightfully so, are like, she's gonna have so much involvement. It's already been said that the only involvement is she has made sure that it's stayed like the stuff in the book, like they've not separated from the books too much. She's just like has to be involved to ensure she has the right to make sure it stays true enough to the books.
Yeah.
Everything else she has no say in. But you're right. The biggest issue this show is going to have is, like, let alone Dumbledore and that, as soon as Harry is show, like, as soon as they,
other than Daniel Radcliffe.
as soon as they show whoever is playing Harry, instantly the first headline you're going to see is Harry from original Daniel Radcliffe as a kid, old Harry versus new Harry. And like instantly every actor is going to be the Harry Potter film actors versus the TV show actors. And it's like, these people are never going to get the opportunity to play these characters without that comparison. And at the end of the day, the show could be incredible, but people are always going to compare it to and say the films are better. They're just always going to do that.
So here's the thing, and as someone, I didn't know that you'd never read the book, so I'm going to just talk you through a couple of things that are going to change your view on things slightly.
Okay.
So Harry and Ginny's relationship in the films kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah? That was an entire book just focused on their relationship, essentially.
Okay, yeah.
That kind of just disappeared. So their first kiss at the end of Order of the Phoenix, or whatever it is, really just kind of comes out of nowhere. That was like beginning to end of that book. That was getting sewn in a lot after already some stuff being brought up earlier. Snape, from the films and Alan Rickman's performance, is kind of beloved. Snape in the books is a massive arsehole even when he's dying.
Okay.
Dumbledore does not give a fuck about Harry.
Well, yeah.
Dumbledore only cares about winning, which is why he continues to put Harry in so much danger. And I don't think the people who've only watched the films are ready for the realization that this story is a lot
Darker.
not different, but yeah, like these characters are kind of putting their best foot forward in the films, and you see their really good traits and none of their bad traits.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
In the
like
film, in the show, they're going to get exposed, and people are going to go, "Oh, I don't like Snape. They ruined him." And it's like, no, they're doing him how he was. You just didn't get as much time in the films to see how
so.
he was.
My sister read all the books, and I do know that like there was a lot of like tonal changes in the films, and bits were cut out and stuff. So yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I'm in the sense of that, like I'm looking forward to seeing like all the extra stuff, and you get the chance to build things up. And let's be honest, we all kind of want to go back to the world of Harry Potter and watch some more stuff from there. It is just this unfortunate thing of like this is gonna be a very difficult thing for them to sell to a lot of Harry Potter fans.
Mm.
That's the problem. There's going to be a lot of Harry Potter fans that read the books that will get behind it probably because they're like, okay, we're getting to see this in a new light, more like the books were. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's already got the internet divided.
If done right, it can be very good.
Yeah.
I've just got a feeling it's going to be a shitstorm on the internet the entire time. And
If
I feel bad for the young actors because
yeah,
if they're going to do all of the books across the television series, like let's not act like we don't all remember towards the end of the Harry Potter films, Daniel Radcliffe being in the papers every day just trying to live his life.
yeah,
And he's been open that he suffered with substance problems towards the back end because of how overwhelming it was. And we're willingly putting another child through that.
yeah. And this is and also let's be honest, right? Yes, the Harry Potter films took up a chunk of their time. They were doing school at the same time, but like there was gaps between them where they went back to doing school and stuff. In a TV show, if you're going to have these actors be the same ones all the way through,
They're going to
like
live on set for 10 years.
yeah, look at Stranger Things, and you look at when it started and how old the actors were to where they are now, and like obviously they've made sure that the timeline in Stranger Things has stuck close enough to the actors and actresses' ages so that it matches. This means like they're going to be filming non-stop to make sure that they don't end up with the actors looking too old for the part that they're doing. So these kids are going to be put through the ringer, like you say, for like 10 years. So I don't know. It's like, let's hope we get a Last of Us quality.
Yeah.
But
If
I
done right,
feel,
it can be a masterpiece.
yeah.
I also know how difficult it is going to be for them to pull it off.
Yeah.
Um,
There was also one other show which you didn't put on because I know you won't be bothered, but there's another Game of Thrones prequel
I didn't even see
series,
about that.
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So they're doing a bit like another spin-off into the world like they did with House of Dragons. They're doing another one on Max. So that should be quite good.
That should be interesting. I'm going to make an executive decision, Horizontal.
Oh,
We've given these people a lot of information, a lot of things to think about.
we have. It's been a busy week.
Yes, I think we save the Superhero Showdown for next week.
Ooh, okay. I will save my notes.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yes.
you actually did notes.
I did because
you can tell it's a semi-final, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. I looked at this and I was like, I really don't. I'm gonna have to Google some things here.
I have thoughts that need to be fully flushed out.
Yeah, I have thoughts and ideas, and we'll see what you think. But okay, yeah, I'm down. I'm down to leave that for next week. This has been a long episode with all the Star Wars stuff.
Exactly, and we do not want to rush such an important battle in the bracket.
No, we don't.
But yeah, I mean, let us know down below what you think of all these Star Wars announcements.
Yes.
Bearing in mind, there's been a lot of delays in Marvel. There was granted very brief, but a little bit of a panic around are we going to have enough content to get us through to the back end of the year where all this content's been pushed to. But Star Wars came in clutch, so shout out Dave. And the future of Star Wars is looking really bright at the minute.
It really is.
Along with our maybe too early, but I think our valid excitement around James Gunn's DC.
Mhm.
It's a good time to be a nerd. It's a good time to be a nerd. And with that, I think we'll leave you. That is episode 63 Cutscene Convos, and we'll see you next
Yes.
week.
We'll see you next week.